Last month, I sat down on a Sunday night, opened up a fresh spreadsheet, color-coded every single spending category, set limits for groceries, eating out, entertainment, subscriptions, the whole thing. I felt amazing, like, okay, this is the month I finally get my finances together. And then, by Wednesday, I'd already blown the eating out budget. By Friday, I told myself, well, the month is basically ruined anyway, might as well start fresh next month. Sound familiar? Because here's the thing, that's not a discipline problem. That's not a willpower problem. That is a system problem. And the system everyone told you to use, budgeting, might actually be the exact thing that's been quietly keeping you broke. Hi, I'm Sam, and today I'm going to completely flip the way you think about managing your money. We're going to talk about why traditional budgeting fails most people, not because they're lazy, not because they're bad with money, but because of some deep psychological traps built right into the budgeting system itself. And more importantly, I'm going to show you exactly what to do instead, a method that actually works with your brain, not against it. If you're new here, this channel is all about real, practical financial education. No fluff, no get-rich-quick nonsense, just the stuff that actually moves the needle. So if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so let's start with why budgeting became the gospel of personal finance in the first place. Pick up literally any personal finance book. Talk to any financial advisor. Go on any money Reddit thread. What's the first thing they tell you? Make a budget. And it sounds so logical, right? You track where your money goes, you set limits, you stay within those limits, you save more. Simple math, clean system. Done. But here's a stat that should make you stop and think. According to a study published in the Journal of Consumer Research, over 88% of people who create detailed monthly budgets abandon them within 3 months. 88%! That's not a small failure rate. That's a near total failure rate. And yet, the financial advice world keeps telling you, just budget better, be more disciplined, track every latte. Doesn't that feel a little bit like blaming the patient instead of questioning the medicine? Here's where it gets really interesting, because the reason budgeting fails isn't random, it's predictable, and it comes down to some specific psychological mechanisms that researchers have actually studied in depth. Number 1, deprivation mindset. When you set a budget, what you're essentially doing is drawing a line and saying, I am not allowed past this line. And the moment you do that, your brain does something fascinating. It starts obsessing over what's on the other side of the line. There's a psychological principle called reactance theory, first described by psychologist Jack Brem back in 1966. The basic idea, when you tell people they can't have something, their desire for that thing intensifies. It's why diets make you crave junk food. It's why don't think about a pink elephant makes you immediately think about a pink elephant. A budget tells your brain these things are forbidden, and your brain responds by wanting them more. Number 2, the what the hell effect. This one is huge, and it's got a great name. Researchers Janet Polivy and Peter Herman identified this pattern in dieters, but it applies perfectly to budgeting. The what the hell effect describes what happens when you slightly break a rule you set for yourself. You were supposed to spend $200 on groceries, you spent $230, and instead of thinking, okay, $30 over, let me adjust, you think, well, I already blew it, what the hell? And then you go spend $80 on takeout. Sound familiar? That's the exact spiral I described at the beginning of this video. It's not weakness, it's a documented psychological pattern that budgets trigger almost by design. Number 3, decision fatigue. So here's something not enough people talk about. Every single spending decision you make drains a small amount of mental energy. Psychologist Roy Baumeister's research on ego depletion shows that willpower is a finite daily resource. The more decisions you have to consciously make, can I afford this? Is this in the budget? Which category does this go in? The faster that resource depletes. Traditional budgeting forces you to make hundreds of micro decisions every single month. And by the end of a long Thursday when you're tired and stressed, your depleted brain is going to choose the path of least resistance every single time. Alright, let's talk about the math side of this, because this is where budgeting doesn't just fail psychologically, it actually fails mathematically for most middle-income earners. Let me show you two people. Both earn $60,000 a year. That's $5,000 a month take-home after taxes. Let's call it roughly $3,800 net per month, depending on your state. Person A, the dedicated budgeter. Every month, Person A carefully budgets. They cut their eating out from $400 to $200. They canceled 2 streaming services, saves $30. They stop buying coffee, saves $60. They're disciplined, they suffer a little, and they manage to save an extra $290 per month. Over 1 year, that's $3,480 saved. Not bad. Person B, the anti-budgeter. Person B doesn't budget at all. Instead, they do one thing. They automate a $500 transfer to a high-yield savings account on the same day their paycheck hits, before they can see it, before they can spend it. And then they live freely on whatever's left. No tracking, no guilt, no spreadsheets. Over 1 year, Person B saved $6,000. Same income, Person B saved 73% more and experienced none of the psychological stress of budgeting. Now, here's where it gets really powerful. Let's say both of them invest that money. Person A's $3,480 invested over 20 years at a 7% average return becomes approximately $13,500. Person B's $6,000 per year over 20 years at the same rate, nearly $246,000. That's not a small difference. That's a life-changing difference from one behavioral shift. Okay, so what do you actually do instead? I want to walk you through a system. It's not new, honestly, but the way most people implement it is completely wrong, and that's why it doesn't work for them. It's called pay yourself first, and when done correctly, it eliminates the need for budgeting entirely. Here's the framework. I call it the 3-bucket system. Bucket 1, your future self. The moment, and I mean the same day, your paycheck hits your account, an automated transfer goes out to your investment or savings accounts. This is non-negotiable. This is not whatever's left over at the end of the month. This comes first. How much? The target is 20% of your gross income. If you can't do 20% right now, start with 5% and increase it by 1% every 90 days. You will not feel 1%. Your lifestyle will not change, but your trajectory absolutely will. Bucket 2, fixed obligations. Rent, car payment, utilities, insurance, subscriptions. These are things that are the same amount every month. Automate these payments too. Set them and forget them. The psychological relief of not having to decide about these every month is enormous. Bucket 3, guilt-free spending. Everything that's left after buckets 1 and 2 is yours. Spend it however you want. Eat out, buy the shoes, go to the concert. Zero guilt, zero tracking. Because you've already taken care of your future, everything else is just living your life. The elegance of this system is that it works with your psychology, not against it. There are no restrictions on your spending money, so your brain doesn't activate that reactance response. There's no category to blow, so the what the hell effect never triggers, and there's almost zero daily money decisions to drain your willpower, because everything is automated. Okay, so I want to talk about something that goes a little deeper than math and systems, because here's a truth that I genuinely believe. No financial system works long-term until you change how you see yourself. Behavioral economist Dan Ariely has this concept. People act consistently with the identity they hold about themselves. If you see yourself as someone who's bad with money, every financial decision you make will quietly confirm that story. The budget you break, the savings account you drain, the investment you keep saying you'll start next month. They all feel like proof of the story you already believe. But here's what's interesting. Research on habit formation, particularly from B.J. Fogg at Stanford's Behavior Design Lab, shows that small, consistent wins don't just build good habits, they actually rewrite your self-perception. Every time that automated savings transfer goes out, even if it's just $50, your brain registers a data point. I'm someone who saves money. Do that enough times and you don't need discipline anymore because you're not fighting against your identity, you're acting from it. If this video made you think differently about money, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who need to hear this stuff. And subscribe if you want more videos like this. We go deep on the psychology and the math of building real financial security, and I think you're going to find a lot of value here. I'll see you in the next one.